Hey, what's going on, Jason?
Hey, nothing much, my man. How you feeling today?
I'm great. I'm great. I actually want to say I appreciate you for carving out the time, real businessman, family man, as you all see. And I appreciate you, coming out here to talk to my guests or my viewers, let them know a little bit more about what you do in regards to commercial real estate apartments and all the whole gambit. So once again, I appreciate you. And I just want to start off real quick and give you a simple question. What were you doing before real estate? What got you even interested in it?
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, man. So, my life before real estate was really all about just trying to figure it out. And as I look back over it, it's just a series of steps that I was taking trying to get to the next level. So, right out of high school, I joined the military because for my environment, that was the next best step. I thought I was doing better then. And then after I got out of the military, I was like, hey, I need to go make money now. You know what I mean? I don't have the military to fall back on. And I saw that my income wasn't where I wanted it to be. And so I just like I was really motivated to try to go learn something. So I went to school, dabbled around in various majors before I landed on computer science. And then that led me to starting a career in computer science and government contracting in the Washington, D.C. area. So that was my life before real estate.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And were you always interested in real estate, or what kind of got you thinking about, I wanted to take this new path? Do you have people around you already doing it?
No, no. So there wasn't anybody in my family who I saw, but there was a uncle of mine who was just kept raving about this book. And I'm like, what is this book he's talking about? And the book was actually Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so after I met with him and he suggested I read it, I read that book and I was like, oh, I've been doing everything all wrong. I need to go buy some real estate. And that's what got me started.
Okay, okay. So the good old faithful rich dad poor dad, right? Okay, so you got into that, realized you're doing things wrong, you wanted to get into real estate. So after that, what happened?
Well, if you read that book, he really sort of leaves it with you need to educate yourself and buy real estate. And I was an action taker, but I didn't really know about what action I was going to take. So I put the book down. It's like, all right, I need to go learn something from somewhere and I need to go buy some real estate. So what I did was I bought a couple of single family homes and I took some training that I found. Like it was like after I had read the book, but the training was in good timing because it was talking about how to wholesale or being able to flip homes, something like that. So I got into that and just went out and started trying to do things. And it wasn't for maybe a few years that I was like, oh, this method isn't even going to work for me.
Okay. Okay. So you figured out single families, or you were an action taker at first. You were an action taker after you learned what you read and you wanted to apply it. And after that, you realized, okay, got a couple single families, but it's not at the pace that I want to be at.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So once you realize, okay, this is not the path I want to continue to, trudging along, what happened next after that? Did you automatically just jump into looking for apartments, or what was the next?
Yeah, no, no, no. It wasn't like that at all. It was actually a series of events that just really led me to see how short-sighted I was with a single family model. And you could definitely be successful in a single family model, but when I was trying to do it, I realized it was going to take me a lot of time. So I bought a few single family as rentals. I had the primary residence, and right about the time I started to get some traction in real estate, I got married. A year later, we had my first daughter, and I found the ability to come up with the 20% down payment to be a challenge for me. And because I wasn't connected with a community of people, I simply put the brakes on. Right now, I was like, all right, I can't do this right now. I didn't know about leveraging other people's money, any of that sort of thing. So I ended up taking an extended break because life situations happen. And then it was years later where I was like, okay, now I need to get back into this real estate game. And at this point, having a young family now, I started to see like, okay, I really want to be able to accelerate this path of freedom. So it was, years later before I sat down, just me in an Excel spreadsheet, and I really got to thinking, how many single family rentals do I need in order to live that life that I had learned about from Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I was like, oh my God, this is gonna take me, 10, 20 years at the way I'm going, at the pace that I'm going, and that's assuming that everything is right, and I'm finding good deals, and there isn't anything that comes in and gives me a snafu. So once I saw that, I really was I was disgruntled. I was like, well, what am I going to do about this? Because I didn't want it to take that much time. And so that's what led me just to a series of exploring what else is there. How can I do this? And that's how I stumbled onto apartments.
Okay. Okay. So did you seek help or a community mentorship programs? What do you do from there?
Yeah, it was really a change. So I would always get up in the morning and go exercise, do my run. And at the time I would always listen to, whatever music I was listening to at the time. So
Right.
I'm listening to T.I., to Lil Wayne, and all those other rappers. And um once I decided, I was like, hey, I'm going for this real estate thing. I cut all that out. That was sort of like my first sacrifice. It was like every time I'm in the car, every time I'm doing my morning run, I'm going to consume some sort of real estate information that will help me gain knowledge. And from that point on, that's what I did. So at 30-minute increments, so if I'm taking my kids to school, I was always listening to podcasts, which is why it's great that you have a platform like this, right? But I was consuming something, and as I gained more information, I learned more about what was possible. Once I understood enough about apartments, it was always intriguing to me. And then I sought out some mentorship to learn, how does this apartment thing work?
Right, right. Yeah, and I would have to attribute the podcast to you because you actually pushed me to actually get this podcast. So I appreciate you right there for that one. But I was actually having this conversation yesterday with another guest about the sacrifices you have to make in order to start changing your life, right? Where you turned your car into basically a university where you wanted to educate yourself at any point when you had some type of free time. Like we were
Mhm.
saying, you're working out, taking jogs, things like that. So that's very important. So after that, you said you joined a community of people,
I
a
did.
group.
Yep.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And they were all focused on apartments.
They were. Yep.
Okay. And from there, I guess if you could walk me through your first deal, how short after that period of that change that you made in your life did you get that first deal under your belt?
Yeah, yeah. So I was so excited about the plan, right? I hadn't done a deal yet, but I had a plan through apartments, and it wasn't a plan that I actually followed, but it was something that I could see and really walk myself through mentally and say, okay, this is a path that can lead me to financial freedom quicker than what I was doing. So I was going to start with like a 4 unit and then move up to an 8, and then from an 8 to a 16. And so that's the that I planned on going. But I was so excited that I'm telling my wife, telling my friends, and everybody's like, yeah, 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 Jason, we get it, sure. But at this point I hadn't done anything. So it was probably this was around 2015 or so that I made the decision I'm going for apartments. And while I was in the midst of looking for my 4 unit or 8 unit or so, I stumbled upon a 34 unit that was very I wouldn't call it cheap, but it was affordable to me. But it was way out there. Hey, I'm not going to do a 34 unit. That's not on my radar at all. I'm trying to do my 4 and then my 8. And so I had 2 fourplexes under contract, and for whatever reason the contract ended up falling apart. And then after that, being a little bit discouraged, I said, let me just call up about this 34 unit to see. And once I had that conversation, I was excited because I saw a ton of upside in it. And that's what led me to just go for it.
Okay. So you stretch yourself a little bit. You said at first you were going for the 4 and the 8s, and I guess incrementally increase from there. But you saw that the 4 unit, I think you said the 4 unit didn't go through, unfortunately. But on the upside, that was a blessing right there waiting for you, was that 34 unit, correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So let me know about the earliest challenges that you had with that deal right there, the 34 unit.
Um, Tons of challenges with this. For one, I didn't know what I was doing.
Right, right,
And I knew enough. I knew
right.
apartments, I understand the concept, but one of the first things that I realized is that just because a owner tells you that they're making a certain amount of income doesn't mean that they actually are making that income. So this particular apartment community was 50% vacant, which is why it was priced at the price tag that it was. And then I saw the upside in the remaining 50%. So I looked at the numbers and said, okay, 50% of your tenants are making X amount of dollars. I want to say it was maybe 7 grand or so that the property was making. And when I bought the property, I expected that $7,000. But just because they were on paper supposed to be paying that didn't mean that they actually were. And then I found out the hard way, like, oh, this is this is reality, right?
Right.
They aren't actually collecting, or it is a challenge for them to even collect that amount of money. So that was one of the first challenges that I got.
Okay. So you learned from that challenge right there that you got to verify before, I guess committing to any seller. Is that correct?
100%. Yep.
Got you. Got you. Okay. So from there, after you close on this deal, what techniques and skills have you actually worked on to better your business?
Yeah, with every property that you buy, that comes a certain amount of skills. And so there was a skill set that was needed in the very beginning to just own an apartment complex, to operate it. I remember we didn't even have leases. There was no professional property management company. I was Googling what a lease looked like, and really just piecing this project together as I went along. But that was the first deal. And there was a myriad of other issues that came with that as well. But after that deal, I I had another dilemma, and that was that all my money was tied up into this one project. And so we got it to the point where we could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but that was going to take another 6 months or a year or so before we could actually turn it around. And my initial plan was to refinance that property and go take the money and roll it into something else. But as I chose to do that, or decided to do that, it was I realized that I didn't want to wait that 6 to 12 months, and that's what led me to just reach out to other people, which is part of the benefits of being in a network. So, and the network was like, well, hey, Jason, you've already done an apartment community. People will invest in you if you know how to do it, and then that's what made me have to reach out and say, oh, now I need to learn how to do this with other people's money, which was another skill set that I didn't have at the time.
Got you. Got you. Okay. So you realize collaboration over competition, if you want to actually scale as fast as possible, is working with other individuals in the same space, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So I guess what is your main focus or role when you're looking to partner up with other individuals to get this job done in order to, get these deals done faster?
Yeah, it's my skill set is really in finding, acquiring, and operating apartment complexes. So in the first two deals that I did everything. I was the guy on that initial 34 unit, and then I syndicated another um 48 unit complex, and I raised the money, I put the deal together, I did the due diligence, all of that, and I was absolutely exhausted. It was one of the most stressful parts of my life, trying to do all that while working a W-2 and having a family and all that. So what I do now is primarily focus on the skill set of finding, acquiring, and operating. And I try to even find leverage in that. So at this point, my company has grown. I have people who help out with the underwriting, people who help out with the acquisition process. I have people who help out with the capital raising. And, I still am able to do everything, but I really try to stay focused on where my strong suit is, which is just, hey, understanding these numbers and making sure that all of our projects are successful.
Got you, got you. And I'm hearing a lot of uncertainty, right? And a lot of people are talking right now about inflation and where the market is going. Do you believe multifamily apartment syndications or apartment investing is a way to help hedge off and I guess preserve the limited partners capital?
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to go in a little bit, so they were, um, CPI, Consumer Price Index, was projected at 9.1%, which is but that is what they say according to their numbers, right? But just ask yourself. This is what I think that the real world is way more realistic than what you may read in a news article. So did your rent, if you're renting, go up by 9%, or did it go up by more? If you are a homeowner, did your home value go up by 9%, or did it go up by more? When it comes to the groceries, did that go up by 9%? Right? Were you spending $100 on groceries and now it's $109? Gas prices, did that just go up by 9%? $100 to fill up your tank, now $109, or did it go up by more? So I mean, I don't want to get into it, but I beat up on the media a lot and
Right.
what comes out. But I try to just view things from a tactical perspective. And with that, I'm saying, like, no, this may be 9% is the number that's being touted to everybody, but I actually think it's a lot higher than that. But real estate is a way that you can hedge against inflation. So my apartment communities, the rents have gone up by more than 9%. And also the evaluations have gone up on those properties by a lot more than 9%. So by investing in real estate alone, you're able to hedge against money printing, wild inflation, and being able to benefit from that because the underlying asset that you hold, or the income from that asset grows with inflation, instead of you just holding something at a static price and having everything that you're buying with the cash flow from it get depleted because inflation is going high. So I'm not sure if that answered that question or not, but that's how I think about it.
No, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. So I guess I'm kind of gonna wind it down a little bit now, right? And I'm gonna ask you a couple questions regarding, let's say, new investors that want to get into real estate, particularly commercial real estate, apartments. And
Mhm.
where would you see for them to start? Where would you suggest for them to do first steps?
Yeah, it's a decision. The first step is a decision, and that sounds very simple, but it really isn't, because I look back over my life and think of everything that I failed at. And there wasn't really anything that I failed at. That's gonna sound arrogant, but hear me out. The only things that I supposedly failed at are things that I forgot about, which means that I stopped doing them. And I feel like if I had a never forgotten about it, or discontinued my effort towards that thing, then I would have been successful in it. And so commercial real estate, apartment investing, the first thing I would say, it starts with a decision, and a decision that you're willing to commit to. Because when things get challenging, that's what's going to pull you through, that underlying commitment that you have and devotion to it. And in this world that we live in now, where there's so many different methods of making money coming at us, even in real estate alone, right? You can wholesale, you can flip properties, you can buy and hold, Airbnbs, whatever it is. Having that decision will make you it'll provide you the ability to block out all the other noise and stay 100% locked in on what it is that you're going to do. And that comes with a vision that you have of yourself in the future and what that's going to look like. So I would say, for anybody who's looking into commercial real estate, don't do it as something I'm going to try. Is, for one, it's pretty expensive to get into, but the rewards and the speed at which you can magnify your real estate portfolio and be able to change your life is something that I feel like is unmatched. So after you've made that decision, the next thing I would say is then you just want to begin educating yourself and surrounding yourself with people who are doing the things that you want to do.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, now I'm curious. Do you have a certain motto or phrase that you live by?
I'll figure it out.
Okay,
I don't
that
I
makes
don't
a lot
know
of
if you know
sense.
if I've ever said that out loud before, but that's just how I always think about stuff. I'm doing something new. Well, it's a deal that's bigger than anything I've ever done before, or a new nuance that comes up in an apartment deal. I just have the mentality I'll figure it out.
No, I like that. I like that. You had to have that mindset where can't is not in your vocabulary, right? Just got to figure it out
Exactly.
some way or another. Um,
Mhm.
Finish the sentence for me real quick. I am an avid.
Learner.
Okay, for sure. You definitely gotta be learning in any space. And let me ask you now: do you have like your future goals and plans in real estate?
I do.
Are you would you share?
Sure. So right now we have shifted a little bit in our buying criteria, and we've started to focus on the affordable housing space. And so what it is for me, it's a real big life win to be able to take what I'm doing and the knowledge that I've acquired with buying apartments and being able to take that skill and provide it to communities that need it the most. And so what the goal is now is to say, all right, let's take these apartment buildings and that's invest or make sure that they're in communities where we can provide affordable housing to people, and those projects are still going to have great returns to our investor base, and we're going to be able to do a lot of good at the same time. And um it's actually viewing a community that I see. I mean, I came up from a community that you would call low income, or even we lived in low income housing at times in my life. So seeing it come full circle and being able to come from that environment and then own those types of communities will be a definitely win for me.
Yeah, that's big. That's big. Much respect for sure. And now I'd like to ask you, I'm obviously a part of your multifamily code, right? And I guess I would like for you to talk a little bit about that as well. Your program that you have and what it consists of, and if it's suitable for maybe a possible individual to meet up with you and see if it's a good fit. If you could talk about that real quick.
Yeah, so it's something that I reached out. Well, I didn't actually reach out, but it's something that I put together because I saw a need in the marketplace. The only reason, and and I am grateful to every coach that I had in my life. And the only reason that I've been able to buy apartments is because I had people who have taught me. And I've had multiple coaches, multiple training programs that I've gone in, and all of them taught me valuable pieces. But then once you learn a piece, you figure out another piece that maybe was lacking, which will lead you to another coach. So I did all that, and then in my program, I decided how can I make this better than anything that I've even experienced, and then also how can I provide those areas that were sort of left out. So a lot they tell you everything that you need to do, but in my situation, full-time job, it's how you're going to do all that and still able to maintain some sense of lifestyle while you're doing this. And so the program is really put together with that in mind, teaching you how to be savvy using technology, and also being able to fill in some of those gaps that I had in my own education experience as coming up. It's something that I don't, it's not a program that's out for just everybody. It's not something that I'm doing for a ton of people to be in, but I think with the right people like you and with what you're doing, really trying to see you all benefit and accelerate through the apartment investing career, because I think that there's a big payoff waiting for you if you can just make a few things happen. So that's what really what it's all about.
No, I appreciate that. Yes, sir. And I'm a true advocate. And I would like to say I would not be where I'm at today if I have not met you believe it was maybe like 2 years ago, right before COVID hit, when I was going to meetups, right? So kept in touch with you since I mentioned that free Rio meetup. And since then, been reaching out to you sporadically about, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And you were always helpful and wanted to give a hand and made some time out. So I really appreciate that once again. And like I said, would not be where I'm at today without you. So I appreciate you once again that you actually carved out the time today to do this interview with me. And I like to say, hopefully we could do another one like this in the future.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm glad to be in touch with you, and I love seeing the progress that you've made. You definitely action taker. I mean, putting the podcast together, and now you got it rocking and rolling. I'm glad to be able to come be a part of it, man. So definitely glad to do it. The only other thing I would say is that always try to do something that's giving back, that's educational, and then for those people that it works for, good. If it's not for you, then that's okay as well. The multifamily code. Obviously, I have the coaching program that you're a part of, but I also have a very free Facebook group where I'm coming in every week and teaching some aspect of the commercial real estate business, as well as showing um, giving out other tools and resources that people can use in their business. So if anybody's listening, they want to join that, it's just the multifamily code on Facebook, free group. You join up and check out what we got there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna also put all that in the description as well. But if you want to let them know as well, your Instagram, whatever else, how you want them to contact you, say right now as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm Jason Stubblefield. If you just search that in most platforms, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, all of that. Facebook is where I'm really putting in the majority of my time at. So I'm on every platform, but you got to pick one. You can't be on everything. But LinkedIn as well. But if you go to Facebook and just the multifamily code, that's where I have the most interaction at.
Awesome, awesome. And before we rock out, hobbies. What are you doing outside of real estate?
And raising kids and really just um looking for moments of peace. You know what I mean? Like I am so involved in the business that oftentimes I have to make myself stop. And so I do make myself quit from time to time and just do things that, whether it's playing with my daughters or going out for a round of disc golf or something like that. But that's really it. Learning and relaxing.
Got you, got you. Got sometimes you gotta, press pause and you know get back to self for a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Got you. Well, once again, I appreciate you for your time. I don't want to hold you up no longer. And like I said, hopefully you do this again in the future.
Definitely, definitely.
I appreciate you, boss. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Later.